Hello everyone, so I wanted to make a video about the week of unleavened bread because this may be considered the true Passover week, and then there may be a second Passover around June 1st, but because a lot of people, our Christians, are just now learning about the biblical feasts, I thought I would share a little information about the week of unleavened bread, and maybe it'll give insight to the Rapture watchers, or maybe it'll clarify something in your own life. But anyways, so I'm going to start with the scriptures about the week of unleavened bread. We have Exodus. Now the sovereign of the children of Israel who lived in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, on that same day, it came to pass that all the armies of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. And it is a night of solemn observance to the Lord, bringing them out of the land of Egypt. This is the night of the Lord, a solemn observance for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. Exodus 13:17. Then it came to pass, when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God did not lead them by way of land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, lest perhaps the people change their minds when they see war and return to Egypt. Exodus 6:2-8. And God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty, but by my name, Lord, I was not known to them. I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage in which they were strangers. And I have also heard the groaning of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians kept in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore say to the children of Israel, I am the Lord. I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians. I will rescue you from their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great judgments. I will take you as my people, and I will be your God. Then you shall know that I am the Lord your God, who brings you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it to you as a heritage, for I am the Lord. 1 Corinthians 5:6-13. Your glorying is not good. Do you not know what a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Leaven represents sin. Therefore purge out the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, basically a new person, since you truly are unleavened. For indeed Christ, our Passover, was sacrificed for us. Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, nor the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. I wrote to you in my epistle not to keep company with sexually immoral people. Yet I certainly did not mean with the sexually immoral people of this world, nor with the covetous, the extortioners, or the idolaters. Since then you would need to go out of the world. But now I have written to you not to keep company with anyone named a brother who is sexually immoral, or covetous, or an idolater, or a revealer, or drunkard, or an extortioner, not even to eat with such a person. For what have I to do with judging those who are outside? Do you not judge those who are inside? But those who are outside God judges. Therefore put away from yourselves the evil person. Exodus 13:3-10. And Moses says to the people, remember this day in which you went out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of my hand the Lord brought you out of this place. No leavened bread shall be eaten. On this day you are going out in the month of Abib. And it shall be, when the Lord brings you into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he swore to your fathers to give you, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you shall keep this service in this month. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a feast to the Lord. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and no leavened bread shall be seen among you, nor shall leaven be seen among you in your quarters. And you shall tell your son in that day, saying, This is done because of what the Lord did for me when I came out of Egypt. It shall be a sign to you on your hand as a memorial between your eyes, that the Lord's law may be in your mouth. For with a strong hand the Lord has brought you out of Egypt. You shall therefore keep this ordinance in a season from year to year. Exodus 12:15-20. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread. On the 1st day you shall remove the leaven from your houses. For whoever eats leavened bread from the 1st day to the 7th day, that person shall be cut off from Israel. On the 1st day there shall be a holy convocation, and on the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation for you. No manner of work shall be done on them, basically a Sabbath, but that which everyone must eat, so you can prepare food. That only may be prepared for you. So you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for on the same day I will have brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore you shall observe this day throughout your generations as an everlasting ordinance. In the 1st month, on the 14th day, at the evening, you shall eat unleavened bread. That's basically Passover. Until the 21st day of the month at evening. For 7 days leaven shall be found in your house. No leaven shall be found in your houses. That same person shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he is a stranger or a native of the land. You shall not eat anything leavened. In all your dwellings you shall eat unleavened bread. Deuteronomy 16:3-4. Ye shall eat no unleavened bread with it. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread with it, that is, the bread of the affliction. For you came out of the land of Egypt in haste, that you may remember the day which you came out of the land of Egypt, all the days of your life. And no leaven shall be seen among you in your territory for 7 days, nor shall you any meat which you sacrifice the 1st day at twilight remain overnight until the morning. Exodus 23:15. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded you, at the time of the appointed month of Abib, for in it you shall come out of Egypt. None shall appear before me empty. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. On the 1st day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work on it, but you shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord for 7 days. The 7th day shall be a holy convocation, and you shall do no customary work on it. Exodus 34:18. The feast of unleavened bread you shall keep. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread, as I commanded you, in the appointed time of the month of Abib. For in the month of Abib you came out of Egypt. Numbers 28:17-18. And on the 15th day of this month is the feast. Unleavened bread shall be eaten for 7 days. On the 1st day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall do no customary work. Deuteronomy 16:8. 6 days you shall eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day there shall be a sacred assembly to the Lord your God. You shall do no work on it. Exodus 12:39. And they baked unleavened bread cakes of the dough which they had brought out of Egypt, and it was not leavened, because they were driven out of Egypt and could not wait, nor could they prepare provisions for themselves. Exodus 12:51. And it came to pass on that very same day that the Lord brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt according to their armies. Exodus 13:14. So it shall be when your sons asks you in the time to come, saying, What is this? And you shall say to him, By strength of the hand of the Lord brought us out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Numbers 33, 3-4. They departed from Ramses in the first month, on the 15th day of the first month, on the day after the Passover. The children of Israel went out with boldness in the sight of all the Egyptians, for the Egyptians were burying all their firstborn, whom the Lord had killed among them. Also on their gods the Lord had executed judgments. Deuteronomy 16:16. 3 times a year all your males shall appear before the Lord your God in the place which he chooses, at the feast of unleavened bread, at the feast of weeks, and the feast of tabernacles, and they shall appear before the Lord. They shall not appear before the Lord empty-handed. 2 Chronicles 8:13. According to the daily rate, offering according to the commandment of Moses, for the Sabbaths, the new moons, and the 3 appointed yearly feasts of unleavened bread, the feast of weeks, and the feast of tabernacles. 2 Chronicles 30:13-15. Now many people, a very great assembly, gathered at Jerusalem to keep the feast of unleavened bread in the 2nd month. They arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and they took away all the incense altars and cast them into the brook Kidron. Then they slaughtered the Passover lambs on the 14th day of the 2nd month. The priests and Levites were ashamed and sanctified themselves and brought the burnt offerings to the house of the Lord. 2 Chronicles 30:21. So the children of Israel who were present in Jerusalem kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with great gladness, and the Levites and the priests praised the Lord by day, singing to the Lord, accompanied by loud instruments. And the children of Israel who were present kept the Passover at the same time and the week of unleavened bread for 7 days. Era 6:22. And they kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy, and for the Lord made them a joyful, and turned the heart of Assyria towards them, and strengthened their hands in the work of the house of God, the God of Israel. Okay, I'm going to read like 3 more, and that's it. Ezekiel 45:21. In the 1st month, on the 14th day, you shall observe the Passover, the feast of 7 days. Unleavened bread shall be eaten. Ezekiel 45:23. On the 7 days of the feast, he shall prepare a burnt offering to the Lord, 7 bulls and 7 rams without blemish, daily for 7 days, and a kid of the goats daily for a sin offering. Okay, Luke 21:1. Now the feast of unleavened drew near, which was called Passover. Okay, so that's as far as I want to go with this. What I would like to point out from reading this is that it seems like there was Passover on the 14th day of the 1st month, and then there was another celebration, it seemed like, of unleavened bread on the 2nd month on the 14th day. Let's see, so 7 days you'll see on the 1st day. One second. Then there's also one where it says, at the time appointed in the month of Abib. So it says, you shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. You shall eat unleavened bread for 7 days, as I commanded you, at the appointed in the month of Abib. So let's see when Abib is. What month is the month of Abib? Abib. So it says March through April is the month of Abib. Okay, so I don't know if that helps any of you guys understand any of this. Okay, so as far as what I've learned, because I've been done the week of unleavened bread a few times, so what I've come to learn is, 2 years in a row, I went through the emotions of removing all leaven from my house and removing all the yeast products, food, and from my house. And that would also include vinegar. We know that when Jesus died on the cross, he was fed the vinegar. And so the vinegar represents the sins, the yeast represents sin. And so, or leaven represents sin. And so when he drank the vinegar, he drank the sins of the world, and then he said it was finished. So that's why it was vinegar. So when you're removing yeast and leaven from your house, you're removing like all bread or anything that has yeast. It can also be in a form of baking soda. If it's not mixed in a product, like just baking soda by itself is fine. But if you have baking soda and baking powder in a product and it doesn't say it has yeast, that would be considered yeast. So anyways, the 2 years that I went through my whole house, and I even vacuumed, and I wasn't doing this as far as being part of the law. I was doing it as like a learning experience to try to draw closer to God and try to understand these feasts. And so I recommend you try to do it at some point. I don't know if we're going to see another Passover, but it's good to learn. So the first day would normally start, so because Jesus died on Friday, so Friday is usually considered preparation day. And so you would prepare for the Sabbath. And so when Jesus died, he died on Good Friday, and he waited through the Sabbath. And you'll notice that he rose on Sunday. So he even didn't, I don't know if that was a recognition of the day of rest, and that's why he rose on Sunday. But to me, it kind of shows the holy day, the Saturday, him skipping past that. So anyways, it would be the same thing for Passover. So you'd celebrate Passover from Friday to Saturday, sundown. And then you would start unleavened bread from Saturday to Sunday for 7 days. And then on the first day, so you would celebrate the Passover dinner. The next day you would celebrate the first day of unleavened bread dinner, and it would be a holy Sabbath. So you'd have 2 Sabbaths in a row, Friday, Saturday, and then Saturday, Sunday. And then at the end of the week, you would have another Sabbath from evening to evening. And then, so anyways, when I got rid of all the yeast in my house, I basically, at the end, I worked really, really hard to get rid of all the yeast in my house. And then I noticed that at the end of the week, both times I did this, Jesus showed me where I still had leaven in my house, and I thought I'd gotten it all. And I was so mad because I was like, I literally found a bottle of yeast in my house. I'd went through every cupboard, every drawer, but I had some food stored somewhere in my room, and I guess I didn't look in there. But anyway, so I just thought the learning experience for me was it shows you the need for Jesus, because like for example, the Pharisees or the Israelites who were following the law, they couldn't really do all of this by themselves and without Jesus. So anyways, so basically you can't get rid of all the sin in your life without Jesus's help. That's what this represents. And so anybody who goes and tries to follow the law can't do it by themselves. It shows you that this whole feast really represented, Jesus, helping us find the sin in our life and remove the sin in our life, because half the time we think that we're good, or we think that we don't have any sin, or that we've already fixed everything that we need to fix. But God's the one who sees in our heart, and he sees what we need to remove. And so that's basically what, to me, this represented, is that you can't do it on your own. You can try as hard as you can try to find all the leaven, you can try to remove all your sin, and you can try to do it with your own strength. But it's not going to happen. It's through a daily walk with Jesus, a relationship with him, and he delivers you from sin. He helps change your mind, your heart. And so to me today, right now, because the rapture is coming, I feel like removing right now, obviously I don't think Jesus is telling us to remove the yeast from our house. But our house represents us. We are the temple of God, and he wants us to remove the sin from our house, and he's going to help us do that through our daily walk with him. And he's going to show you one thing at a time, and he doesn't really try to overwhelm you with trying to do everything at once. But and it's through his timing, and his perfect timing in your life on how he delivers you from certain sins in your life. And so as long as we seek him and draw close to him and have him search our heart daily, he will show you what needs to be cleansed, and he will help you and show you and guide you with the steps to take, and he will help change your mind and your heart. So that's really, so right now I think that everybody should be working on that with Jesus right now, because I think it's interesting how we've had the Passover prior to the rapture right now. And I think and even the 40 days of Lent that just passed, that's what this all represents is, denying ourselves, denying the flesh, picking up our cross daily and following him, and just seeking his will for our life, and keeping the commandments in our hearts. And so that's really all I wanted to point out. I don't know if this helps with any timelines. I know that there is a second Passover around June 1st. And so, I feel like a high watch for the rapture right now would be the 14th through 18th of May, because we know that Brother Joshua said 15 days will pass, and on the 16th, 17th, he will rapture his church. Joshua and everybody really kind of thought it was pointing to Passover, and it may be. There is a second Passover starting around June 1st. But first, let's get through the next watch, which is the 14th through 18th. And, keep your lamps lit, keep seeking Jesus, and working on removing that sin in our lives. And, he's purifying each one of us. And keep your hope. Stay encouraged. I know that it's been a long journey and a long wait, but we got to make sure everybody gets on the ark. And so hang in there, and, reach out to me. If you have anything, you want prayer for, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Make sure that if you are a new believer and you need to, be saved, make sure you get to a church. Try to get baptized, say the salvation prayer, and join a Bible group, and, start praying to Jesus at least twice a day, if not all day long, with everything that you're trying to do. Pray and seek Jesus. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.